Face your fears in order to supersize and grow your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom today is one with unknown origin yet again, but it is to face our fears. And I think that based on my experience building businesses, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, and working with literally thousands of other business owners, the one thing that I've learned is our business will only grow and supersize as fast as we are willing to grow and become the leader that can lead that organization, or get out of the way so that other people can supersize and build that organization for and with us. And that is a fear that has to be overcome in and of itself. A lot of times as entrepreneurs and business owners, we want to control everything. We want our fingers in all the pies. We want to make all the decisions, and that means we become the bottleneck and slow the possible potential growth of our business. So fear, we all have fears. Fear is actually the most common human emotion, and it's because it's designed to keep us safe, keep us from dying, which is the real reason fear exists in us as humans. It's, one of the few things that we are actually born with. We're born with only a couple of fears: the fear of falling, the fear of loud noises, because that's like a warning, etc. And there's probably another one, but I can't remember what it is right now. But with the new grandbaby in the house, I'm reminded of those things, that we're not really born afraid of things. We learn those fears along the way based on the experiences that we have. So how do we overcome fears? I'm going to share 6 ways you can help other people overcome their fears and phobias, which of course means that you can overcome your own as well. But when we're helping other people do something, it helps to reinforce the learning in us. But exposure, being exposed to something that we're afraid of, stretching our comfort zone, doing things that we're afraid of. I used to be totally afraid of any kind of speaking, especially in front of groups or in other people. So one of the things I did really early on in my corporate career was I would volunteer to be the speaker at different things. I would, when they needed a speaker or when somebody needed to present on a topic, even though it practically killed me to do it, I knew that if I did it, if I volunteered, if I actually gave presentations and practiced, the first couple would be bad or horrible, which they were never as horrible as I thought they were going to be. But I knew it would be hard, but I also knew that that was the only way I was going to get over my fear of speaking in front of groups and speaking to groups, which meant, speaking one-on-one with people too. I knew I needed to get more comfortable doing all of that. And so I made sure I had exposure, and I was exposed to situations where I had to step up my performance and improve and make sure that that wasn't going to be the thing that stalled my corporate career. So exposure, doing things that are a little scary but stretch us, is one way to overcome our fear of doing things. I found that most of the things I've ever been afraid of, and I'm one of those weird people that wasn't afraid of dying, but I had a death experience, and so that proved to me that I was right to not be afraid of that. And so usually, in my experience, I found that if I do the thing I'm afraid of, or if I take an action toward the thing I'm afraid of, it alleviates the fear. And my dread over what could possibly happen was not anywhere near what I actually experienced. So how can we help other people increase their confidence, reduce their fear, reduce overwhelm, reduce the power that the fear holds over them, and then retrain our brain and develop strategies in order to move in positive ways and not be afraid of things. So we take the steps we know we should take for our business and we want to take for our business, but maybe we're a little nervous or afraid of them. So how do we face a fear? How do we face a phobia? How do we help other people to do the same thing? Because part of why we want to do it is so that we're setting the example for the other people in our organization. Well, number one, try to understand the fear or the phobia. Why and what maybe created that? My fear of speaking, I don't know. I had a lot of sisters, and I was always around a lot of other people that I felt were much more dynamic than I was, and so I would just hang back and not speak up. Plus, I kind of liked doing my own thing, and if I didn't tell them what I was doing, then nobody was going to give me a hard time, and I could just keep doing what I wanted to do. I know, strange. So try to understand where that might have come from. Secondly, or help them understand, well, where did that come from? Maybe you gave a speech in high school and it bombed and everybody ridiculed or teased you for weeks. Well, there's a whole lot of negative associations with that. So then every time you spoke up after that, anytime something remotely negative happened, your subconscious piles it all on and makes you even more afraid of the thing that you had a bad experience with. So try to understand where the phobia or the fear came from. Secondly, take the phobia seriously. Don't ever give somebody a hard time because they're afraid of something, because we're all afraid of things. Thirdly, don't put pressure on them immediately to change. I mean, help them, coach them, work with them to change and understand the benefits to not being afraid of the thing. And, you know, one of the biggest, most common fears is public speaking or communication. And so this is where I see this come into play most often, is helping people overcome their fear of that. And you as well, if you're afraid to do public speaking. Fourth, find out what helps them, what works for them, because what worked for me, what works for you might be different than what works for the person that you're trying to help. Fifth, support them in helping them and giving them exposure and experiences, or seeking help. Depending on the fear or the phobia, you know, somebody might need to go to a professional. If you are deathly afraid of flying and you want a job in sales where you're going to have to fly around and meet with customers, you might need to overcome that fear of flying. And I know I'm not equipped to help somebody overcome that type of a phobia or fear, but I also know I can recommend a professional that would help them. Maybe it's a hypnotist, maybe it's a meditative practice, maybe it's a therapist. You know, maybe there's, nowadays with the internet, it's easy to find people that specialize in everything. And then finally, remember to look after the person and yourself and take care of yourself, because when you're feeling confident and healthy in most areas and aspects of your life, you're not afraid of very many things. So love to know your experience with facing fear, facing your fears, or helping other people to face theirs. Share in the comments below, and I will be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you use it to supersize and grow your business? Have an awesome day.